Imagine a device that reshaped human communication, a tool so powerful that it revolutionized our way of life. Can you guess it? Yes, it's mobile phones.
Such an understatement, Qing. From waking us up in the morning, keeping track of our schedule, listening to music, connecting us with our farthest relatives to managing our finances, this magical device has deeply integrated itself into every aspect of our daily lives.
Exactly, Norma. Mobile phones have evolved from a luxury item to an absolute necessity today. They've transformed from brick-like devices to sleek portable gadgets that are literally handheld platforms for communication, learning, amusement, and even business.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Qing. It's all down to that tiny handheld device, the smartphone, that has become so engraved into our lives that we can hardly imagine a life without it. Would our ancestors even believe it if we told them?
I can hardly believe it myself, Norma. In my historical research, the concept of having instant access to information and being able to communicate from anywhere, anytime, seems something straight out of a science fiction novel up until the 20th century.
Absolutely, Qing. From my perspective, the evolution of mobile phones has not only innovated communication, but also design. The aesthetics have shifted drastically from bulky, function-oriented designs to sleek, aesthetic-focused models.
Speaking of ancestors, it's amazing how they communicated before the age of mobile phones. Even if we trace it years back, even to ancient civilizations, humans have always desired a way to share knowledge and connect with each other quickly and effectively.
Right, Qing. Picture it, thousands of years ago, humans would use oral traditions, cave paintings, or even smoke signals as methods to relay messages and document life.
Yes, and it's fascinating to think about how these humble beginnings were stepping stones to the written scripts used in ancient civilizations. That was a major revolution in the history of communication. Chinese in East Asia, cuneiform in Mesopotamia, hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt, and Brahma script in ancient India are few of the examples.
Very insightful, Qing. But as we moved into a more interconnected society with the expansion of empires, kingdoms and trade, a more effective means of communication had to develop, right?
You're correct, Norma. That necessitated systems like postal services during Roman Empire and carrier pigeons in the Islamic world. Going forward, the inception of the telegraph in the 19th century was a game-changer. It was the first instance of electronic communication, making instant global communication a reality.
Whoa, talk about a leap! From face-to-face contact and physical letters to electronic signals transmitting our conversations over vast distances. It must have felt like a miracle then.
Indeed. And it was this telegraph that created a foundation for one of the most significant inventions in the history of mankind, the telephone. The brainchild of Alexander Graham Bell in 1876, telephones truly revolutionized how we maintain friendships, conduct businesses and participate in society. It is the beginning of the lineage that leads us to today's smartphones. Alexander Graham Bell. Does that ring a bell, Norma? Bell was the mind behind the telephone's inception back in 1876. One fine day, he accidentally discovered that he could hear sound over a wire. This curious incident was the birth of a groundbreaking technology that would revolutionize human communication.
I've heard stories about that. The first words ever spoken on a telephone were, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you," right?
Exactly. But you know what, Norma? The basic concept of the telephone wasn't so much different from the telegraph. With the telegraph operators tapped out messages in Morse code over the wire. But the telephone carried the human voice, and that was a marvel on its own.
That sure sounds like a game changer. I mean, carrying voices over a wire must have felt like magic in those days.
It definitely did, and people embraced it. The initial telephones were quite different from what we have today. They were rotary phones, where you spin a dial to dial the number.
So I'm aware of the design element. The rotary phones had a circular dial with holes corresponding to numbers, correct?
Absolutely. But the design didn't stop evolving there. With the advance of technology, push-button phones became popular in the 1960s. Now, instead of spinning a dial, one merely had to push buttons. It's easy to underestimate now, but that was a significant step towards making communication more accessible for everyone.
Wait, so we went from rotary dial to push-button phones. So when did the cordless ones come into play?
Patience, Norma. We're getting there. While the telephone was a significant invention, humanity's desire for freedom and mobility led to more innovations that we will explore in the coming parts. Norma, did you know the first mobile phone was launched by Motorola in 1983?
You mean the first phone I could actually carry around?
Yes, exactly. It was a heavy, clunky, brick-legged device known as Motorola Dynatac 8000X. This mobile had a unique look. It was humongous with elongated antenna and weighed around 1.1 kilograms. Yet it was a ticket to an unprecedented sense of freedom and mobility in communication.
1.1 kilograms, wow. That's about the weight of a cutting-edge laptop today. So tell me, Qing, how did this brick phone evolve to the sleek, slim devices we have now?
It was all about making communication more personal and mobile. As technology progressed, mobile phones became smaller, lighter, and more versatile. Nokia 1011, launched in 1992, was one such game-changer, Norma. It was the first commercially available cell phone on the GSM network, allowing for international roaming. That was a huge step in breaking geographical barriers in communication.
I can see why the Nokia 1011 was significant. The concept of international roaming must have revamped the landscape of communication. It must have felt surreal, being able to communicate across borders without being tethered to wires.
Definitely, Norma. And the emergence of 1G and later 2G networks brought about drastic changes in our lives. Imagine the liberation people felt when they took their conversations off their tables and into their pockets. From there on, the mobile phone wave took over the world. Norma, do you remember when text messaging became a vital part of our communication?
Oh, yes. It was like speaking in a new language where abbreviations and emojis replaced lovely handwritten letters. Simultaneously, it was quick, to the point, and you could do it practically anywhere. It's crazy how much it's evolved.
That's very true, Norma. This new language came with the introduction of 2G or second-generation cellular networks that revolutionized the way we communicated. But do you know what made it possible?
I'm not exactly sure, Qing. Why don't you enlighten me?
The monumental shift was brought about by the Global System for Mobile Communications, or GSM. The creation of GSM networks and the launch of 2G in the early 1990s marked the start of digital cellular technologies. Not only could you make calls and send text messages, but you could also send pictures, and later even access the internet. Imagine, Norma, communicating without any pictures, without the ease of texting, without the swift web searches in the palm of our hands. Isn't that difficult to contemplate?
Quite unimaginable indeed, Qing. It must have felt like becoming a part of a fast-paced future with the advent of 2G.
Right, and that's not it. The change didn't stop there, it was only the beginning. As technology continued to advance, greater speed and efficiency became critical. The solution arrived with the inception of 3G networks. I bet your first video call was an unforgettable experience.
How could I forget? I remember feeling amazed and thrilled. Your voice was not the only thing real-time anymore, but your face too. It was like teleporting yourself to the other side, without even stepping out of your room.
I bet it was, Norma. And that's how mobile phones began to shrink our world down even more. With faster data speeds and concepts like mobile broadband, technology had finally paved the way for greater things to come. As we continue our journey through the evolution of mobile communication, we come across a mind-blowing milestone that revolutionized the way we ever imagined mobile phones, the IBM Simon. Known as the first smartphone, it had a monochrome touchscreen, weighing about a pound, and a battery life of just an hour. Half of it was a screen where you could write onto. Remember what I told you about text messaging, Norma? IBM Simon was where it began.
Wow! I mean, if we look at devices nowadays, IBM Simon may not even qualify as a phone, forget a smartphone. But given the era when it was introduced, having a touchscreen on a mobile was something totally unheard of.
That's exactly the point, Norma. What appears archaic to us now was a groundbreaking discovery back in the day. I still wonder how people must have reacted to the unbelievable transition from texting to touchscreens. However, IBM Simon was more of a curiosity than a viable commercial product, selling just around 50,000 units and disappearing from the market by 1995.
Seems like our today's world of iPhone and other smartphones should thank IBM Simon. But as we move forward, we stumble upon another game changer in our mobile evolution path, and that's BlackBerry.
Oh, BlackBerry. Now that takes me back. Introduced by Research in Motion, RIM, in 1999, BlackBerry started off as a pager, but soon it transformed into a full phone known for its signature QWERTY keyboard, BlackBerry's Forte. It was like carrying a mini laptop in your pocket.
Oh, absolutely. I remember that QWERTY keyboard was a runaway hit among business professionals. It made emailing on the go a breeze, bridging the gap between being in the office and being mobile. But despite its initial success, BlackBerry struggled to adapt to the rapidly evolving mobile landscape. A real-life example of adapt or perish. Qing, let's go to where I believe smartphones truly took shape. Apple. The name itself became synonymous with innovation, didn't it?
No doubt, Norma. When we look at where we stand today, it's clear that the introduction of the iPhone in 2007 became a game-changer in the technology world.
Can't argue with that. The design, the user experience, and obviously the intuitive touch interface, it was all revolutionary. Something tells me that it's the whole intuitive thing that won the customers' hearts. Think so?
Certainly, Norma. The iPhone did not just provide a product, it offered an experience. Armed with the iOS operating system, early iPhones offered the exhilaration of owning a device that viewed technology as an extension of oneself. Plus, the seamless integration of the device with digital music was phenomenal, leading to an entirely new perspective of what a phone could do.
It really did awaken a sense of wonder. The arrival of the App Store took things to a whole new level, adding a dimension of versatility that hadn't been seen before. Songs, pictures, videos, weather updates, emails, all at one's fingertips.
Exactly. With the stroke of a finger, we could unlock an entire world. But with Apple's ingress into the market, the concept of the smartphone acquired a certain exclusivity, didn't it?
Seems so, but that's where Android stepped in, right? While iPhones represented an elite lifestyle, Android expanded the market by supporting a wide range of devices with varying price points.
Just the kind of balance needed. Android indeed democratized access to smartphones. Seeing Samsung, LG, HTC, literally hundreds of manufacturers adopt Android was the real testament to its role in broadening the spectrum of smartphone users. Norma, smartphones have developed into an inseparable part of our lives, don't you think?
Oh, for sure, Qing. It feels like from the moment we wake up to the second we fall asleep, there's hardly a moment that we're not engaged with our phones.
Yes, they are not just devices for communication anymore. The array of applications and features that modern smartphones bring right into our pockets is astounding. From the ability to stream music to tracking our fitness, these devices have grown beyond their humble telephone beginnings.
And it's not just about entertainment or basic utilities. Smartphones have become tools that we rely on for work and productivity. The ease of access to emails, documents, collaboration tools. It's like having a portable office.
Right. But would you say that smartphones, being such an essential tool, also impact our lifestyles, our social relationships, and our work-life balance?
Qing, I think, like any tool, the impact depends on how we use it. In some ways, it can enhance our work-life balance by allowing us to work remotely or keep in touch with loved ones across the globe. But, at the same time, the ability to be perpetually connected can also blur the boundaries between work and personal life.
Absolutely. On one hand, they offer convenience, entertainment, and connectivity, but on the other hand, they also have the potential to engender addiction, hamper interpersonal relationships, and foster an atmosphere of incessant work pressure. It's always a balanced act, I feel.
Yes, and besides, the aesthetic evolution of the phones has also shaped our approach toward them. The sleek designs, vibrant interfaces, customizable covers, all these elements, they make it a part of our self-expression, at least for me.
Ah, that's an interesting perspective. So it's not just a tool, it's an extension of our personalities?
I'd say so. Also, let's not forget the fear of missing out with every new model launched, a part of the impact driven by the aesthetics and brand value. The smartphone industry sure knows how to keep us hooked.
Yes, and I must admit, keeping up with the constantly changing world of smartphones can be quite overwhelming, but it's fascinating to see the path it has carved in our lives and society. Reflecting on this journey, I think touchscreens have played a significant role in the evolution of phones, don't they, Norma?
Absolutely, Qing. Seems like they altered the way we interact with our devices, making everything intuitive and engaging. It seems like the birthplace of the touch and swipe culture was at our fingertips.
But it's not just touchscreens that made a difference, right? What about mobile applications? We have apps for virtually everything today. They have become essential tools that aid us in daily tasks, entertainment, and even health monitoring. I must confess, I rely heavily on my meditation apps to maintain my mental health.
The app culture. Entire industries have been revolutionized. Yet I believe it wouldn't have been possible without wireless technology. Internet on the move changed everything. It reminds me of the difference between being tethered to a painting station and having the freedom to paint anywhere. It's liberating.
Exactly. Wireless tech combined with the advent of the mobile internet gave a boost to the whole smartphone phenomenon. Remember how GPS changed the way we travel or even order food?
Spot on, Qing. Yet, as someone engrossed in the artistic side of things, I wonder how the aesthetics of these technological advancements played a role in their acceptance and popularity. Isn't there some truth to the phrase, "What looks good, sells good"?
True, aesthetics appeal to people and they do give a certain desirable vibe to products. But cutting-edge technology also played its role in driving the public towards smartphones. It's fascinating to see how these breakthroughs have totally transformed our interaction with technology. With such immense power at our fingertips, don't you think there are risks attached, Norma?
Yes, Qing, there are indeed risks. Primarily, security and privacy are two big issues concerning smartphones. With personal data and high-stake financial transactions, these devices have become prime target for hackers.
I agree. Data breaches can have severe repercussions. It can lead to unauthorized access to personal data like credit card details, social security numbers, or health records. Even the fear of spyware is quite alarming.
Moreover, it's not just about digital assets. Think about our daily activities. From calls we make to messages we send, places we visit, smartphones have an insight into our personal lives like no one else.
That's quite troubling. But there's also this notion of built-in obsolescence which often bothers me. Do companies intentionally design smartphones to become outdated after a certain period to boost their sales?
Some might argue so, but it brings us to the right to repair movement. Its proponents believe consumers should have the option to repair their devices instead of being forced to replace them.
That would be a significant step towards a sustainable future. However, as consumers, we are the ones using these devices, and perhaps we need to step up and demand for better privacy measures and sustainability in design. What about the ethical considerations of our vast overdependence on smartphones?
It's quite worrying, Qing. Smartphones were once considered luxury items, and now they are practically a necessity. The reliance is so deep that they have changed our daily routines and social norms. It's something we need to talk about more.
As a historian, I've noticed shifts in society whenever a new technology is introduced. The smartphone is no exception, but its impact seems to be much more significant. It's alarming to see how much people are glued to their phone screens.
Right, smartphone overuse is a real issue, and the impacts on mental health, particularly in young people, are a matter of concern. Reports suggest that excessive screen time might be linked to depression and anxiety. Have you ever felt this, Qing?
Given my predisposition to anxiety, I try to limit screen time. But still, there are days when I feel overwhelmed by the barrage of notifications. I can only imagine what it might be like for someone who's heavily reliant on these devices.
How we interact has also changed drastically. Real-life conversations are replaced by digital messages, and the complexity of human emotions is often diluted to mere emojis. As an artist, this disturbs me. Do you share this sentiment, Qing?
I do. Though great for connecting us to people far away, the richness of in-person interactions admittedly is somewhat lost. However, it isn't all bleak. There are also positive impacts, like reaching out for help during mental health crises, or connecting with like-minded communities that would be otherwise inaccessible.
Absolutely. We have strong opinions about our smartphones, And that's because they have become such integral parts of our lives, for better or worse. The question perhaps is, are we, the consumers, ready to use such potent technology responsibly?
It's fascinating to speculate about the future of mobile phones, isn't it, Norma?
Absolutely, Qing. Especially with rapid advances in technology, it can get mind-boggling. AI, VR, AR, foldable screens. It's like a sci-fi dream.
I agree. AI in particular is intriguing. We've gone from using digital assistants for simple tasks like setting alarms or making calls to relying on them for more complex ones, such as language translation and even diagnosing diseases. Norma, how do you think AI will shape the next generation of smartphones?
Given our growing dependence on technology, I see AI becoming even more integrated into our daily lives through mobile devices. Perhaps predictive analysis could further enhance personalization, or AI could broadcast real-time health updates using biometric data. The possibilities are boundless.
And what about augmented reality and virtual reality? Their potential is immense, particularly in making our interactions more immersive and redefining gaming, navigation, and learning experiences.
Absolutely. Imagine transforming any space into a virtual art gallery, or having an immersive travel experience just by donning a VR headset. As for foldable screens, they look appealing artistically, but do you think they will add significantly to the utility of mobile phones?
That's an excellent point, Norma. While foldable screens can increase screen space, making content consumption more engaging, it seems more of a novelty currently. I'm interested in how this would evolve. As for 5G, it appears set to revolutionize data sharing and extend the reach of the Internet of Things. What are your thoughts on this?
Envisioning the potential of 5G in enriching our interactions with smart devices in our surroundings is exciting. Its ultra-fast speed and lower latency could significantly elevate the streaming, gaming, AR and VR experience.
Norma, what do you think will be the next significant innovation in mobile technology?
Well, Qing, just like in my pursuit of art, it's more of a vision than a prediction. I see technology evolving towards being more than just about communication or consumption. I think the real shift will come when smartphones become tools for genuinely unique self-expression, beyond taking a selfie or posting a status.
That's a fascinating perspective, Norma. Tying back to our discussion about VR and AI, the fusion of these technologies with smartphones would indeed redefine personalized digital expressions. What I find intriguing are features like holographic displays often portrayed in sci-fi movies. How do you perceive their role, Norma?
Holographic displays are spellbinding for sure. I think they could push the boundaries in the realm of art and design, from drawing in 3D spaces to virtually constructing sculptures. This potential for artistic exploration is exciting. However, feasible implementation is yet to be seen.
I agree, Norma. The roots of any disruptive innovation are often steeped in fantasy before becoming a reality. Talking of innovations and its fast pace, I wonder about the challenges we might face. What do you think?
Like the other side of the coin, every novel innovation has its own set of challenges. From what I see, they might range from potential security risks to environmental repercussions due to fast-paced hardware cycles. Furthermore, the growing disparity between people who can afford these radical innovations and those who can't is a significant social concern.
That's a well-thought-out caution, Norma. Bridging these disparities while ensuring technology continues to improve lives should be our way forward. The future of mobile phones, like any other technology, is a mystery to unravel, yet it's an exciting one. As we wrap up our journey, Norma, from the quaint rotary phones of the past to the dazzling smartphones of today, we've been gifted with a reminder of how technology has evolved. The telegraph, the telephone, the push-button phone. Every innovation was a revolution in its own right. Do you think we are giving due credit to these stepping stones?
Qing, that's a valid point. Often, in our rush to stay updated with the latest, we kind of overshadow the significance of what we've left behind. But without those stepping stones, we wouldn't have reached the sophistication and versatility of today's smartphones. These inventions not only reshaped communication, but also influenced the trajectory of countless industries.
Absolutely, Norma. It amuses me how a simple device like the rotary phone, designed to facilitate conversation, has morphed into a multifaceted tool that defines our lifestyle and work. From playing music, capturing moments, tracking our health to directing us to destinations unknown, its evolution is awe-inspiring, yet equally dizzying.
Yes, Qing. The sculptors of this technology didn't just influence how we interact, they're shaping how we express ourselves, how we navigate our world. As a lover of art and design, it's thrilling to see how aesthetics of mobile phones have evolved. Right from the hefty block of plastic to sleek metallic finishes, tech companies are focusing on art, not just function.
That's quite a journey, isn't it, Norma? A progression that truly encapsulates the evolving human ingenuity. Regardless of what digital marvels the future serves up, it's essential to respect the tech roots that nurtured the present. While I fret about society's skyrocketing dependence on mobile phones and hope for balanced use, it's undeniable that these tiny devices have transformed our world.
Yes, Qing. Echoing your thoughts, I feel that while we admire the elegance and rule-breaking designs of modern smartphones, we should make them accessible to all. Also, it's high time we emphasise sustainability in tech development. Rethinking hardware cycles could be a step towards reducing giwasti, making use as responsible tech users.
Norma, walking down the memory lane of mobile phones has been quite a venture. What stupefies me is how these small devices have paralleled and encapsulated human ingenuity over the years.
Qing, it serves as a mirror to humanity's unending quest for evolution. From basic communication devices to all-encompassing lifestyle tools, this journey has been more transformative than any other in tech history.
Yes, Norma, I couldn't agree more. Just like how the telegraph connected people in ways unimaginable then, each technological leap since then has done so in its time. But don't you think that the remarkable pace at which these innovations have sprung up recently has left us users a bit disoriented at times?
I see where you are coming from, Qing, and that is one aspect that we must touch upon. While I'm inspired by the aesthetic evolution of mobile phones, I feel that tech companies need to ensure that these innovations don't just become a symbol of exclusion due to their hefty price tags. They should focus on making these devices accessible to all.
While bridging this digital divide is certainly a priority, what also concerns me is the growing dependence on smartphones. However, I do admire the conveniences they offer in our busy lives. Maybe what we need is not a step back or forward, but a pause to reflect and adapt.
Well said, Qing. As we continually evolve, pondering upon our past ingenuity helps to appreciate our present and shape a more inclusive and sustainable future. Technology is here to serve us, not the other way around. It's high time to strike a balance between connectivity and getting closer to nature, progress and inclusivity, modern and the classic.